When I first opened the door, I was like, holy beep. What was I thinking? So I always say, yeah, one day I will own a restaurant, but that was more part of the retirement plan. And it's been a multi-step process. I've always enjoyed cooking and food and going out and eat. And I went back to Belgium to see my family, and I was at a trade show, and I could smell the smell of the waffles I grew up with, and sort of followed my nose, met an old man who was there baking waffles, and spent about 2 hours talking to him. And the next day I went to a store, and I came back to the US with a waffle iron. There was no way I could build a storefront or get a food truck or anything like that without really knowing whether the product would sell. So Jean-Robert let me use one of his kitchens, so that's where I was making the dough. And then Brian Madison at Finney Market let me use his back counter to test the product, and that's where I sold the waffle for the first few weeks. And then he told me, it's getting really too crowded in here, we need to find you a new home. On paper it all seems simple, like, well, meatballs are not that complicated. Carbonade either. Frites, well, it's just fries. The difference is that we blanch them before we cook them a second time. So, but once you put it all together, it gets pretty tricky. What we make is called Liège style waffle, after the city of Liège, where I grew up. So the main difference is that we start with a very thick dough, incorporate the sugar in it, a little bit of pure vanilla extract, and it's pressed in a cast iron press. So it's something that is very popular in the area where I grew up, and my mom made them at home. We would get them at markets, by the train station. I mean, it's always like the food trucks before food truck existed. So it's one of the few things that you have in Belgium that is 100% street food. I'd never mixed waffle dough before I came back with the equipment. So originally I thought, well, I'll do like others. I'll just bring the frozen dough from Belgium. And then while talking with Jean-Robert, he told me, this is stupid, nobody wants to do that. Let's use my kitchen and just make it from scratch. It really shouldn't be that hard, and so on. And then finally I asked my mom if she could contact the guy at the market where we grew up, to see if I could give him a call and see if I could have possibly his recipe or something to start with. And so we talked, and he basically gave me the proportion of what he's using, but the flour is different back home. So it took a little bit of tweaking to get it to taste the way I remembered when I was a kid. This is just a project that evolved. It was more like, we need to be in a place outside of Finney Market so that we can consolidate all of the baking activities, and then try to have a storefront. And then by looking at locations and places, I mean, this is really, I really could not pick any better place in the entire downtown over the Rhine area.